All right, let's be real for a second. Are you tired of spending just countless hours buried in textbooks only to feel like you're not really getting the grades you want? What if I told you the secret to a better GPA wasn't studying more, but studying smarter? Okay, let's dive into that because today we're going to break down exactly how to pull that off. So, all of this comes from the fantastic work of Thomas Frank, who wrote 10 Steps to Earning Awesome Grades While Studying Less. And the core idea here, it's not some vague life hack you'd see online. Nope, it is a powerful, totally logical framework that we're going to unpack together. I mean, really, just stop and think about that. More time for your friends, for hobbies, maybe even for sleep, all while your grades are actually going up. It sounds like a dream, right? But it's absolutely possible once you get the principle behind it. So, let's get right to the heart of it. The entire strategy, the whole thing, hinges on one single, really powerful mental model. Frank calls it the study time equation. And trust me, this is the key that unlocks everything. Okay, so here it is. This is the big formula. What you're looking at tells us that how ready you are for an exam, your desired preparedness. It isn't just about how many hours you cram in. It's actually a combo of what happens in class and what happens out of class. It's the time you spent in class multiplied by your learning quality, plus the time you study multiplied by your study efficiency. And this is where it all clicks. When you just flip that formula around to solve for study time, the answer becomes so clear. To get your study time to go down, you have to pull two other levers up. Those levers are your learning quality in the classroom and your study efficiency outside of it. So the big question is, how on earth do we do that? Let's start with that first lever, learning quality. This is all about making the most of the time you're already forced to spend in a lecture hall. I mean, think about it. The more you actually absorb while you're there, the less you have to reteach yourself later on your own time. Thomas Frank tells this perfect story about it. In one class, he sat way in the back, kind of napped, and learned basically nothing. The next semester, in this super tough 8 a.m. stats class, he decided to sit right in the front row. He was just a few feet from the professor, totally dialed in, and he filled 5 pages with notes that he actually understood. The difference? Just a simple choice to be present. So how can you be more present? Well, the book lays out 3 simple but super powerful strategies. First, take care of your hardware, your body. Get enough sleep, eat well, get some exercise. Your brain can't perform if your body is running on fumes. Second, sit up front. It basically forces you to pay attention. And third, come prepared. Pack your bag the night before so you're not wasting precious willpower and mental energy right before class starts. Okay, so we've got lever number 1, learning quality covered. Now let's tackle the second part of our equation, study efficiency. And the absolute number 1 tool for making your study time more powerful is, hands down, mastering how you take notes. You probably know this one. I mean, we've all done it. The outline method is the most common for a reason. It organizes everything in this really structured, logical way. You got your main ideas up top, and then all the little supporting details are nested underneath. It creates a nice, clean skeleton of the lecture. So the big pro here is that it clearly shows you how different topics are related, which is awesome for reviewing later. The huge drawback, though, it can easily turn into mindless transcription. You know that feeling where your hand is writing but your brain is a million miles away? Yeah, that's the danger zone for this method. Now, to fight that mindless note-taking, let's look at a system that's literally designed for active learning. It was developed by Walter Pock at Cornell University, and it's not just about writing stuff down, it's about making your notes incredibly easy to study from the moment the lecture is over. Here's the breakdown. You divide your page into 3 parts. The big column on the right, that's for your main notes during class. The skinny column on the left is your cue column. After class, you write down questions or keywords there. And that box at the bottom, that's for a quick summary of the whole page. The genius is that it forces you to process the information right away. So if outlining is like building a skeleton, the flow method is like mapping the brain and the nervous system. This was created by the writer Scott Young, and it's meant to look like how your brain actually works, a kind of messy but really powerful web of connected ideas, not just a straight list. The whole idea here is that you're not just recording information, you're creating knowledge. You're physically connecting ideas with arrows, you're making a point to write things in your own words, and you're even creating backlinks to things the professor said 20 minutes ago. You're building a mental map in real time. But what about those classes that are just a fire hose of information? You know, history or biology, where it's just facts, dates, names. coming at you a mile a minute. For those, the charting method is your best friend. You set up your page in columns before the lecture even starts. You can see how powerful this is. Just imagine a history lecture where you've made columns for period, people, events, and why it all matters. As the professor talks, you're not writing sentences, you're just dropping the info into the right box. It saves a ton of time and makes comparing things later so easy. And honestly, we're just scratching the surface. The toolbox is huge. You've got the sentence method for super fast lectures, mind mapping if you're a visual learner, or even just printing the slides and writing your notes directly on them. The whole point is to find what clicks for you. So that brings us to the million-dollar question. Which one of these is the absolute best? And the honest answer is, there isn't one. It's all about finding the right tool for the right job, and just as importantly, the right tool for you. I mean, just look at this quick comparison. Outlining is king for structured stuff. Cornell is a rock star for efficient review. Flow notes are unbeatable for understanding how big ideas connect. And charting is the clear winner for those super dense, fact-heavy classes. It all depends on the situation. But get this, here's a fascinating little reality check. Some research on the famous Cornell method found that, well, it didn't always lead to higher test scores. Isn't that wild? What that tells us is that a system is only ever as good as the person who's actually using it. The tool itself isn't magic. And that leads us to our final and I think most important point. A toolbox full of the fanciest note-taking systems in the world is completely useless if you never actually pick up a tool and build something. It all comes down to one thing: execution. This quote from Derek Sivers just says it all perfectly. A brilliant idea multiplied by zero action is still just zero. You are so much better off picking one single strategy from all of this and actually putting it into action than just passively knowing about all of them. So let's end right there. We've laid out the equation for studying less. We've shown you the tools to boost your efficiency. The only question left is the one that actually matters. Which tool are you going to pick up and try in your very next class?